Starting portion. Kaya Sarah basically just means the life of Sarah. Um, so it's Genesis 23, 1 through 25, 18. First Kings 1 through 31 is the Haftarah, and Matthew 1, 1 through 17, and First Corinthians 15, 50 through 57 is all of the recon shop portion. All right, so today we will be starting another partial titled Kaye Sarah. This can be translated as the life of Sarah. Ironically, this week's parsha starts with the death of the matriarch Sarah. So with that being said, let's get into the parsha and see what we come up. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So Genesis 23, verse 1 and 2. And Sarah lived 127 years, the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. So here we are given some details that will prove valuable to the setting of the story. We are told that Sarah died in Kiriath Arba, also known as Hebron. But what do we know about this place? So basically, we're going to see that this place is kind of significant to what it was that the father did in Yasharal.
No praise.
So Kiriath Arba, H7153, second form used in Nehemiah 11:25 has the article interposed from H7151 and H704 or 702, city of Arba, or the city of the four, and they have here four giants. Kiriath Arba or Kiriath Arba is a place in Palestine. We got it. So this is the same place that Caleb inherits as his portion when Israel conquered the land for themselves. So Joshua 14:6. And the children of Yehuda came to Yehusha in Gilgal, and Caleb the son of Jephunneh said, or the Kenizzite said to him, you know the word which Yahuwah said to Moses or Moshe, the man of Elohim, concerning you and me in Kadesh Barnea. I was 40 years old when Moshe, the servant of Yahuwah, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land. And I brought back word to him as it was in my heart. But my brothers who went up with me made the heart of the people melt, but I followed Yahuwah my Elohim completely. So Moshe swore on that day, saying, the land on which your foot has trodden is your inheritance and your children's forever, because you have followed Yahuwah my Elohim completely. And now, see, Yahuwah has kept me alive, as he said, these 45 years since Yahuwah spoke this word to Moshe while Yisrael walked in the wilderness. And now, see, I am 85 years old today. Yet I am still as strong today as I was on the day that Moses sent me. As my strength was then, so my strength is now for battle and for going out and for coming in.
I'm ready. Listen, you heard what he said I can have. I'm ready. Give it to me.
Whatever is over there.
Give it to me.
They said he overcame what was known as the roving terrors, or in some places they're only spoken of as the rovers. Now, these were literally half beasts, half men. And by the Ruach of the Father running through them with trained servants. Like, this ain't a standing army where this is all they do. Sparta, like, no, these is servants, trained, spirit placed on them too. Can't be roughed with. Same thing now. We have an opportunity and an agenda, but we got to stay tuned in to the Father and able to hear correction when we are, adrift, so we can get real back in and come under His pavilion.
Praises. So, verse 12, he said, and now give me this mountain of which Yahuwah spoke in that day, for you heard in that day how the Anakim were there, and that the cities were great and walled. If Yahuwah is with me, then I shall dispossess them. Speaking of these sons of Anak, as Yahuwah said, Yahusha then blessed him and gave Hebron to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, as an inheritance. So Hebron became the inheritance of Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, to this day, because he followed Yahuwah Elohim of Israel completely. Now the name of Hebron was formerly Kiriath Arba. Arba was the greatest man among the Anakim, and the land had rest from fighting.
They that know their Lord shall do exploits.
Mhm.
Same then, same now.
Mhm.
According to John 17:3, is eternal life.
Mhm.
Don't get dismayed when the walk gets strenuous, like it builds us up. When the flesh is getting taxed, the spirit man is getting enriched, the spirit woman is getting enriched. Keep trusting them and get through it.
All praises. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, this part was like, why am I going here with this? It's like after the week, it was like, oh, I know. Now I know.
This is what, this is the morale builder. It's like, haven't you heard what he did for whom? You know what I mean? Same thing for us when something that you could only imagine in your nightmares is confronting you, and Father's like, do what I told you to do. Just be. Give unto Caesar what belongs unto Caesar, and unto Yahuwah what belongs unto him. If you mind, they ain't got permission to come take that unless you out of order. So know what you need to know and stay on task.
All praises. So we also know that Abraham was here before. Genesis 13:14. And after Lot had separated from him, Yahuwah said to Abram, now lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are, northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land which you see, I shall give to you and your seed forever. And I shall make your seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man could count the dust of the earth, then your seed also could be counted. Arise, walk in the land through its length and its width, for I give it to you. So Abram moved his tent and went and dwelt by the terebinth trees of Mamre, which are in Hebron, also known as Kiriath Arba, and built a slaughter place there to Yahuwah. So I just wonder why Abraham chooses to set up an altar in this place to Yahuwah, and why Yahuwah chooses to show him in this particular location. Look everywhere around you, and this is going to be yours.
Renamed.
I can hear it. I can never hear it.
Shalom.
Did you catch what he said? I missed what you said.
I think he said he finally got through.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even know I got the interview, but I was saying I couldn't hear y'all.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I got some.
Shalom, family. How y'all doing today?
Shalom, doing well. How are you?
I have absolutely no complaints. I wouldn't complain if I could.
All praises. We ain't gonna encourage you to, and glad to hear that. But yeah, I wanted to
The
ask.
term so late. We got out. We just got out.
Oh, you right on time. All praises.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning.
Praises. All praises. I'm listening.
But yeah, I was saying, there's a underlying significance to why Yahuwah would choose a place in the midst of enemies to set up a table, even for Abraham. And it's just like a reoccurring theme, a message to his elect all throughout the scriptures. Like even here in Jeremiah in chapter 1, Verse 10 says, see, I have this day set thee over the nations and over the kingdoms to root out and to pull down and to destroy and to throw down and to build and to plant. And the way we do that in this time is focusing on what Yahuwah says is important, not being so caught up on what the world say we need to make it, but focusing on those things that keep us under his pavilion and on not the dung list. If you know what I mean. Like not tripping when we ain't got to, suffering stuff that's necessary so that someone else ain't thrown out of his mercy, but praying for their deliverance instead of feeling insulted and won't get back. Tear down the altars of the land and exalt an altar unto Yahuwah, and being willing to put yourself on that as a acceptable sacrifice. Watch him keep adding to the territory that he has you roam with his ruach.
All praises. So yeah, I wanted to look at that word Mamre. When you look at it, it's H4471. It's in the sense of vigor, lusty, Mamre, and Amorite. Where our driver's Briggs is strength or fatness. An Amorite who allied himself with Abram. An oak grove or Mamre's land in Palestine where Abraham dwelt. A place near Abraham's burial place, apparently identified with Hebron. From the root H4754, Marah, to rebel. Hence, through the idea of maltreating, to whip, that is, lash, self with wings as the ostrich in running. Be filthy, to lift up self. Wonder just what was in that land.
Come on.
Oh. All praises.
Come on.
So, Hebron, H2275. Seat of association. All right, so Hebron, a place in Palestine, also the name of two Israelites from H2267. Heber, which is from H2266, a society. Also a spell, a charmer, charming, company, enchantment. So Greek-related word to this Hebrew word, according to the LXX, is G2839, koinos. Probably from G4862, something that is common, that is literally shared by all or several, or ceremonially profane, common, defiled, unclean, or unholy.
Come on.
So the idea here, I'll let y'all take that train. From a physical standpoint, the idea here is that this is a communal place of meeting or gathering. What was meeting? What was gathering? Yeah. This is the perfect setting for the town hall or city council meeting that Abraham takes part in our parsha. So you're gonna notice how in the physical realm, this place is used for that as well. But also just keep in mind that this area is an area that was inhabited by the Anakim and spell, enchantment. We'll just leave that there.
All praise.
But yeah, and this is the place where he decided we gotta get this land and we gonna be buried here. So yeah. So I believe this also plays a role in what this place was used for by our ancestors. This was a place where, as we will see in a moment, was used as a final resting place for the patriarchs. It was often requested that they be gathered to the resting place of their fathers. I wonder why. Even in death, this place served as a communal place of gathering. So see Genesis 51-14. Basically where Jacob, they take him out of Egypt and bring him back to this place.
Oh.
Yeah, all praises. So, a foreigner and a sojourner. So, Genesis 23:3. It says, then Abraham rose up from beside his dead and spoke to the sons of Heth, saying, I am a foreigner and a sojourner among you. So, who else is foreigners and sojourners? So is it possible that we can learn something about how he navigated in this land knowing what is rightfully his,
Come on.
and how we can be operating here.
Mhm.
Like, just something to think about, right?
Come on.
So he says, give me property for a burial site among you, so that I may bury my dead from my presence. And the sons of Heth answered Abraham, saying to him, hear us, my master. You are a prince of Elohim among us. So, hold on. Yeah, she making the calls. Oh, praises. Yeah. I heard the same thing you heard. Yeah. Oh, praises. I am a foreigner and a sojourner among you. Give me property for a burial site among you, so that I may bury my dead from my presence. And the sons of Heth answered Abraham, saying to him, hear us, my master. You are a prince of Elohim among us. Bury your dead in the choices of our burial sites. None of us withholds from you his burial site from burying your dead. So Abraham rose and bowed himself to the people of the land, the sons of Heth, and he spoke with them, saying, if it is your desire that I may bury my dead from my presence, hear me and approach Ephron, the son of Sohar, for me, wisdom, and let me have the cave of Machpelah, which he has, which is at the end of his field. Let him give it to me for the complete amount of silver as property for a burial site among you. And Ephron dwelt among the sons of Heth. And Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the hearing of the sons of Heth, all who entered at the gate of his city, saying, no, my master, listen to me. So he was in the midst of the crowd. I shall give you the field and the cave that is in it. I shall give it to you in the presence of the sons of my people. I shall give it to you. Bury your dead. And Abraham bowed himself down before the people of the land. And he spoke to Ephron in the hearing of the people of the land, saying, if only you would hear me, I shall give the amount of silver for the field. Take it from me and let me bury my dead there.
Give me a receipt.
That part. I need the deed before witnesses, all that.
Come on.
So here we see Abraham pleading his case in humility before the people of the land. With this being said, we see that he does not go in with the attitude that he is owed anything, but that he uses wisdom and follows the proper channels according to the custom of the land. First, he appeals to the people as a whole. Had he been bothersome to the inhabitants of the land, he would not have been able to do this. They would certainly not listen to him if he had been a fool amongst them. If he had been unbearable in the land of his sojourning, they would have no reason to hear him out in this request. Also notice, he did not bypass the people, but followed the custom with respect to them. Remember, this is the community, this is the city hall. This is the community gathering place where everybody comes together and we discussing the matters over the city. That's what this is. So he followed the custom with respect to them. Ephron was in the midst of the people, and surely he knows this. He did not bypass them or disrespect Ephron by going directly to him, but chooses humility and pleads his case as he should, being a foreigner in what is at the moment their land. This is important to the story because we know Yahuwah already promised him the land, but was very specific that he was to sojourn there and that it was to be inherited by his descendants many generations later. So this is really, really, like, the story seems like, but like, no, when we really looking at this, like, no, he cannot take the bait, because if he does, then he disobeying what the father told him. Father already told you, not in this life. Nah, it ain't coming that way. So like that, he's very adamant and specific. Nope, I got to buy it. Can't nobody give me nothing. Cause it ain't mine to have in this land. I only need a burial site because later on, like, and I need my receipt. Like, so yeah, the story is very significant with what's going on, especially when we get to the next chapter. You'll see how, like, oh, this theme is continuing. So notice Abraham's wisdom when dealing with the Hittites. Now, we already have seen how Abraham moves in the land of Canaan as a foreigner and a sojourner in their land. There seems to be a pattern when we look at how he is treated as a foreigner, and we also see that there is a pattern in how he acts, knowing that he is an outsider to them. So this is an ultimate test of Abraham's humility, knowing that the creator of the heavens and the earth has already promised him the land. Keep this point in mind as we continue this part of the parsha. We won't go there, but keep in mind his sojourning in Egypt. So how was he treated in the lands that he sojourned? Here's an example. Genesis 21:22. And it came to be at that time that Abimelech and Pekah, the commander of his army, spoke to Abraham, saying, Elohim is with you in all that you do. So they saying the same thing. This is the only reason why these people will even entertain anything that he's saying without smiting him out of the land to begin with, is because he's carrying himself a certain way, and they see the might and the power of Yahuwah behind him. Ain't nobody gonna dispute that. We know his hand is on you, even to the point where you increasing in the land more than we are. And we don't want you here, but we can't really put you away because we scared what might come with that. Like, that's how we are to operate, even in the land of our sojourning. Yeah. Verse 23, he said, and now swear to me by Elohim, not to be untrue to me, to my offspring, or to my descendants. Do to me according to the loving commitment that I have done to you and to the land in which you have dwelt. And Abraham said, I swear. And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of a well of water, which Abimelech's servants had seized. This is a part of the oppression that comes along with being a foreigner. This is how foreigners get treated. I don't care what nation you from. If you in a nation that ain't your own, you get at the mercy of the land and they rules. And Abimelech said, I do not know who has done this deed. Neither did you inform me, nor did I hear until today. Yeah, I couldn't really tell you because I'm a foreigner and a sojourner in this land. There's certain things that we just put up with because we foreigners. Now, look, you have caused our name to stink in the land. Yeah. To the point where he's even considering, yeah, this happened, but we're going to eat this. This is what an oppressed people that's you not in your own land and you at the mercy of the game. So he's using wisdom. We learning and seeing how he's using wisdom to navigate in this situation and come out ahead every time. And that's the thing, because we're going to see a little bit later on where Isaac is going to have some problems, and it's because he's doing the opposite of what his father did. So Genesis 21:32, thus they made a covenant at Beersheba, and Abimelech rose with Pekah, the commander of his army, and they returned to the land of the Philistines. And he planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba and called on the name of Yahuwah, the everlasting El or Elua. And Abraham sojourned in the land of the Philistines many days. So sojourning, and all of this land is his. He's already been promised it. So we see as a sojourner in these lands, he is always at a disadvantage. But because of his wise and righteous dealings with the people of the land, along with the favor of Yahuwah, we see him gaining a level of respect from the people. While they may still take advantage of him, that part ain't going nowhere. We see him being able to navigate in the land with wisdom so as not to make his situation as a foreigner worse. His patience in their land with them has allowed him to rise to wealth even in their land. This is kind of like the state of affairs of where we at right now. Like, we are no longer under the foot of our adversaries where now slave, like that phase, but we still are sojourners in a strange land. We ain't necessarily in bondage. We're in captivity, but we're not in bondage. Like, there's a difference. Like, we not building no pyramids for no pharaoh, not against our will. You know what I mean? Like, but we in captivity still. We still not in our land and abiding by our rules. So how do we navigate this? This is better than the captivity, or this is better than the bondage, but we got a long ways to go. So until we can get there, it's a certain way we got to operate in wisdom. So with this in mind, notice how he deals with those of the land, even when at that moment it seems to be a come up for him. So he just told anything you want, we'll give it to you. Right here, right now, oh, that's a come up. Bet. But he's going against it because it's something that he's looking at. So Bereshit, or Genesis 14:21, and the sovereign or the king of Sodom said to Abram, give me the people and take the goods for yourself. But Abram said to the sovereign of Sodom, I have lifted my hand to Yahuwah, the Most High El, the possessor of the heavens and the earth, not to take a thread or a sandal strap or whatever is yours, lest you should say, I have made Abram rich. Except only what the young men have eaten, and a portion of the men who went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre. Let them take their portion. So now let's keep this in mind as we go back to the current parsha. Proverbs 22, verse 7. The rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is a servant to the lender. Nah, I ain't about to let you say you gave me nothing. I need my receipt that I bought this and that this is mine outright. Ain't no funny business. Ain't no none of that. Because less I'm going to be at the mercy of you. And I already see how giving the edge, I'm going to take that edge. I'm at the disadvantage you. So some wisdom. All praises. My bad, y'all. It's going from slide to side slow because I forgot to take that timing off. And it's like taking forever to go to the next slide. But all praises. But again, all of these details are important to understanding what is going on in this parsha. We will see that this parsha is all about hanging on to what Yahuwah promises you. He knows better than us and holds the keys to our success. There are not any shortcuts to this, and it requires obedience, faith, and wisdom to navigate this. As we have already seen, we are usually not given all the details. We are given just enough for us to walk in faith. So Genesis 17:1, and it came to be when Abram was 99 years old that Yahuwah appeared to Abram and said to him, I am El Shaddai, walk before me and be perfect. So that's the qualifier, right? And I give my covenant between me and you, and shall greatly increase you. And Abram fell on his face, and the Elohim spoke with him, saying, as for me, look, my covenant is with you, and you shall become a father of many nations. And no longer is your name called Abram, but your name shall be Abraham, because I shall make you a father of many nations. And I shall make you exceedingly fruitful and make nations of you, and sovereigns shall come from you. And I shall establish my covenant between me and you and your seed and after you in their generations for an everlasting covenant to be Elohim to you and your seed after you. And I shall give to you and your seed after you the land of your sojournings, all the land of Canaan, as an everlasting possession. And I shall be their Elohim. And Elohim said to Abraham, as for you, guard my covenant and your seed, you and your seed after you, throughout their generations. Ketubah. That part. All praises. All right, so waiting on Yahuwah. When it comes to waiting on Yahuwah, there are some questions that we can consider. So Psalm 27:11-14. Teach me your way, O Yahuwah, and lead me in a smooth path because of my enemies. Do not give me over to the desire of my adversaries, for false witnesses have risen against me, and they breathe out cruelty to me. And this cannot just only be in the physical realm. You have adversaries that accuse in the spiritual realm as well. What if I had not believed to see the tobness of Yahuwah in the land of the living? Question 1. What happens if I don't endure?
Come on.
What am I going to miss out on if I don't endure? What would have happened if I didn't believe to see this come to fruition? Wait on Yahuwah. Be strong and let him strengthen your heart. Wait, I say, on Yahuwah.
That part.
That part.
Yeah. Somebody do anything in a state of hopelessness.
That part. Said a whole bar with that one. That part.
Right. Help us.
Isaiah 40, verse 26.
Salakia, y'all. I'm gonna need y'all to start speaking in the microphone, please.
All praises. I said somebody do anything in a state of hopelessness. Just talking to the question here in Psalm 27. Like, what if we didn't believe the promises of Yahuwah, even if for a moment?
Mm.
And I'm capable of being charged of anything before the Father because of what I'm operating out of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Huh. Isaiah 40, 26 says, lift up your eyes on high and see. Who has created these? Question. He is bringing out their hosts by number. He calls them all by name, by the greatness of ability and potent of power. A man is not lacking. Why do you say, O Jacob, and speak, O Israel? My way is hidden from Yahuwah, and my rights are overlooked by my Elohim. Why are we acting like the Father don't see us in this captivity?
Come on.
Why are we acting like, oh, well, woe is us in this captivity? And like he don't hear.
Who is despised the time of small things?
Mm.
Like, nah, that's your training to get close to the Father.
Mm-hmm.
This is where you get your grounding so that you're not uprooted when things do get better because you don't forgot.
100% facts. So question 2, right? In other words, how is your perspective? Did you not know? Have you not heard? Questions 3 and 4. The everlasting Elohim, Yahuwah, the creator of the ends of the earth, neither faints nor is weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint, and to those who have no might, he increases strength. Even youths shall faint and be weary, and young men stumble and fall. So the question is, are young men usually weary, or are they usually strong and vigorous? So what's the circumstances that even the young men is bad out here?
Come on.
If the youth is out of energy and they spent, then it's bad. It's bad circumstances out there.
Yeah, it's a different fuel that you're going to have to be running off of if you're going to be able to endure.
Like, I mean, I'm in my early 30s, and I think about when I was in my early 20s, and the energy was different. I jump off walls, jump in dumpsters, do all kinds of crazy stuff. And I'm a little bit slower to do that kind of stuff now. Like, even I'm still considered a young man. And I notice a difference between now and 10, 15 years ago. Like, really think about that. In your youth, it's not too many things that physically you don't feel like you can't overcome. You got problems, you got bills, you can outwork them. Do more hours, work a third, fourth job if you got to. In your youth, because you got a different level of resources when it comes to energy stores. But if they spent in this, like you said, you need something even beyond that. And I know when I was, even now, but especially then, can do a lot physically. I can endure a lot physically. I can outwork a lot. And if the youth is faint, what you up against?
So then how significant is it if we call back to the forefather about to get his inheritance to say, now I recognize it's Yahuwah that's been keeping me. And it's been 45 years and I got the same strength. What was he tapped into? Why was he qualified to receive in the first place? What was his mind operating off of? Although he saw the potential, the opportunity to be intimidated, he didn't choose that route and get judged like the ones that did.
Major key. Major key. Major key. He gives power to the faint. And to those who have no might, he increases. And young men stumble and fall. But those who
Mhm.
only way it can be renewed is if you exerted something.
Come on. Come on.
They raise up the wings like eagles. They run and are not weary.
Mhm.
So this type of what he done charged you with, now you not weary.
Come on.
They walk and do not faint.
So then we right back at Psalms 27 and 13. What if I had not believed to see the tokens of Yahuwah in the land of the living? So what they're running off of is that Imuna, the fruits of Imuna, produced by believing the Father gonna do just what he said he gonna do. So no matter how bad it get, all I gotta do is stay on task. Of the last assignment he gave me, oh, he gonna show up. I ain't gotta know how or when, but he is, and he ain't never lied. He got us, no matter what it looked like. That's something we all have the opportunity to stay tapped in and tuned into, and that's actually what we're commanded to be focused on in this hour. And we all have opportunities to be getting groomed and trained in this. All those that are his. It's the channel we're supposed to be on. Operating off believing he gonna do just what he said he gonna do. Having enough insight on what he said he gonna do and what we ought to be doing as his individual instruments in this hour.
All praises. This is exactly what we see Abraham going through. Like, this is exactly the essence of what he's at a particular crossroad in his life to where some things are becoming a real reality, right? Like, yeah. So basically, so now as we go back to Genesis 23, what can we learn from this story? Here we see Abraham is at the end of the road, right? He at the end of his life. This has become a reality for him now. With the passing of Sarah, he has to know that he is also nearing the finish line. Considering he is older than she is.
Come on.
With this being said, we will see that this Torah portion is all about him getting his affairs in order. But what is he getting his affairs in order for? What is the purpose of him doing this if he will die and not see the fruits of his labor? So we got to see, he's looking beyond just the present.
Come on.
And he's looking at something eternal, everlasting.
Yes.
I want this place, and we're going to be buried together because it's something that's going to happen.
Come on. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also, and the fruit in your life is going to be produced from wherever your focus is. Where your treasure is, there will your mind be also, and the fruit of your life is going to be produced from wherever your focus is. So then day in and day out, we get these opportunities to find out for ourselves what we really hold in high esteem, because he's going to keep putting it before our face, whether or not we recognize it. And we get the opportunity to pivot or to stay grounded based on what we judge it as. Is that tov fruit? Is that pleasing unto him? Is that basis for him to let us into the kingdom? Or is that proving that him sparing us is really vain? And we get the chance to weigh it out day in and day out, day in and day out, day in and day out. For those that have eyes to see, and those that have ears to hear.
Couldn't have said it no better. That's what time we on.
All praises.
Like, yeah.
All praises.
Major keys. Proverbs 13:22. A told man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. So what inheritance is Abraham leaving to his children's children? So this story in Genesis, at first glance, may seem random to the story of Abraham and his legacy. But when we look a little bit closer, we see that this story is actually showing a beautiful picture of his faith and is the grand sum of all of the labor that he put in as he walked with Elohim. Now remember, the title of this parsha is what? The life of Sarah, but we talking about the death of Sarah. But are we really?
Gotta pay to play with Yahuwah. Like the free rise into Eden was taken back. Like we ain't appreciate the golden ticket. Now you get this amount of time, which is up to Yahuwah, based on whether it's being proven vain or fruitful, and it just needs to be done
Mm.
to pay for your
Mm.
ticket.
All praises. In other words, she getting buried into everlasting life.
Come on. Come on.
Like, huh?
And she did her part, not to lose her inheritance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all praises.
All praises. So how much does a shekel cost? How much a dollar cost? Your spot in heaven and you just lost. No, I'm just
Oh,
but yeah, how much does a shekel cost though? So Genesis 23:14. And Ephron answered Abraham, saying to him, my master, listen to me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that between you and me? So bury your dead. And Abraham listened to Ephron. And Abraham weighed out the silver for Ephron. Big boy. For Ephron, which he had named in the hearing of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, currency of the merchants. So what is interesting here is that scholars agree that this seems to be an enormous amount of money for a property such as this. In other words, this is not a fair deal. But Abraham is at the mercy of someone that is taking advantage of him, and he knows it, and actually insists on this man taking advantage of him. When we compare what Ezra paid for his field, we see that 400 shekels is much more. Jeremiah 32, verse 6. I said, Ezra. I meant Jeremiah. Jeremiah, and then, yeah, I meant Jeremiah. And Jeremiah said, the word of Yahuwah came to me saying, see, Hanamiel, son of Shalom, your uncle, is coming to you, saying, buy my field which is in Anathoth, for the right of redemption is yours to buy it. So Hanamiel, my uncle's son, came to me in the court guard, according to the word of Yahuwah, and said to me, please buy my field that is in Anathoth. Now, mind you, this is a field. So this field comes along with what? Economic increase. I can plant on this field. So naturally, a field is worth more than a cave that ain't nobody using. Like, just, yeah. Which is in the land of Benjamin, for the right of inheritance is yours, and the redemption, buy it for yourself. And I knew that this was the word of Yahuwah. Confirmation. And I brought the field, which was at Anathoth in Hanamiel, from Hanamiel, my uncle's son, and weighed out to him the silver, 17 shekels of silver. 400 shekels, 17 shekels. I think the scholars, and who knows how off or on this is, but they say that's like, he basically paid like 130,000 for a grave site. Like 130,000 modern day dollars. Like that's the buying power of what he spent for basically a casket, a place to put the tombstone. Like, won't get into some of the other traditional things. I can't find this in any text that I would stand on and be like absolutely 100%. But I do know that there are traditional readings and traditions out there that say that this was the birthplace where Adam and Eve also lay.
Oh, because it's deep. Like, why did the father tell somebody while the people's in captivity, no, buy land? Buy land here. What do you say was gonna happen? No, this land should be inhabited again. It's inhabited now, but I'm talking about my mind. Like, yeah. It's deep.
All praises. So again, just proper channels and proper business, right? And this was Jeremiah dealing with his own.
Come on.
And it's still proper channels and proper business. Wisdom, again, how we can learn how to operate and navigate. And I bought the field, which at Anathoth from Hanamel, my uncle's son, and weighed out to him the silver, 17 shekels of silver. And I signed the deed and sealed it, took witnesses and weighed the silver in the scales. Then I took the deed of purchase that which was sealed according to the command and law, and that which was open. And I gave the deed of purchase to Baruch, son of Neriah, son of Maaseiah, in the presence of Hanamael, my uncle's son, and in the presence of the witnesses who signed the deed of purchase before all the Yahudim who sat in the court of the guard. So again, we see a similar scenario to what was going on in the days with Abraham. This was custom. We handled our business.
Come on.
Not that he's dealing with Mishpakai. It's not that he thought that he was going to get slighted in any way. This is just how we move.
Yep. That's right. Yeah.
So why does Abraham insist on purchasing the field? Why doesn't he just take the offer when Ephraim wanted to give it to him, because they don't appear to be enemies? They seem cordial. We just saw, hey, yo, that's fam. This is my uncle's son. Why do I insist on this?
I was gonna say, because he was wise and probably he knew the manner in which he'd been sojourning in that land. He probably knew the manner in which them people dealt.
Ooh.
If he already went to battle and told somebody else, listen, you ain't about to be able to say that you did anything to get me in this position. He probably done seen some sleight of hand before.
He getting slighted right now with it. I mean, he's saying it innocently. I mean, it's 400 shekels, but what is this between you and me?
Exactly. He sound like a
400
hustler.
shekels.
Right. He sound like a hustler. What is that? What is 400 shekels between friends? You know, what's 400 shekels between friends? You know,
I mean, it ain't worth nothing, but but if you gonna pay,
that part. And he like, no, go ahead, give me a receipt. Whatever you say the price is, I'm gonna pay for that price.
Boy, wait it out.
Go ahead.
I'm like that. I got it. Father increase me just for this moment.
But that's just my guess about it. He probably done seen how these folks get down and done seen the unrighteousness with them and done seen the sleight of hand and they merchants, behaviors and tactics. We talking about sons of Heth here. We talking about them Canaanites.
You look up what Heth means. Yeah.
We talking about them Canaanites. You know, they ain't doing nothing but get over on folk. No.
But yep. Yep. I mean, you waited out in the silver of the merchants. Like so yeah.
Got a little bit different weight to it. It's like a baker's dozen.
Yeah.
Some extra on there.
So yeah. And just as a side note, like he's in a land of quote unquote sojourn in captivity, of him being a foreigner, but this does not necessarily mean that he has to be cursed in this land. Like we are at the point to where we have to realize that all of the curses were penalties for disobedience. But what if we are in obedience in this land? Then what? Can we still reap blessing in this land? And we see that happening with Abraham. Every time you keep seeing it, he's walking in obedience in his land. Not only is he walking in obedience in his land, but the people see, like they know, oh no, you man, Elohim is with you, because the Father is increasing him in this land according as he's walking with the Father. The Father's walking with him. And so we seeing like, just because this is not your land and not your captivity, like we don't have to have that mind state of, well, it ain't no way up for us even over here. It ain't no way up.
No, that ain't true. Cause I'm trying to see if I got permission. Oh, praises. Yeah, it's something that the Father shared with me in Numbers 10, and it's worded like that. When you be in your land. When you be in your land. XYZ. One moment, y'all.
Take your time, huh?
Numbers chapter 10 and verse 9. And if you go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresses you, then you shall blow an alarm with the trumpets, and you shall be remembered before the Adonai your Elohim, and you shall be saved from your enemies.
Mhm.
So we gotta wait till we get back into the land for this to apply. But what is the land except for where he chooses to place his name?
Mhm. Mhm.
And isn't he placing his name on people?
Mhm.
So does oh.
Mhm.
So all I gotta do is be in obedience
Mhm.
and blow this alarm
Mhm.
in Ruach, and help gonna come. So really all I gotta do is not get tricked out of my place in the Father's, and the game is ours.
Mhm.
Losses.
Mhm.
We serving on pancakes in no time. Oh, game. That's game,
But
yo.
yeah. But facts, like
Like that's what we're not supposed to see.
Mhm.
So we keep operating out of hopelessness
Mhm.
and prove our being spared vain
Mhm.
and get taken out.
Mhm. Mhm.
I was gonna say, not only that, not only just operating out of hopelessness, we keep operating with this mindset of, oh, I can't have nothing now. I
Mhm.
can't have nothing now.
Mhm.
Like blind
Mhm.
hope. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, and I don't even know if that's the right terminology, blind hope, but like
There's no blessing now.
Psalm 27. In the land of the living.
yes.
So anybody's giving up XYZ for my name's sake,
Mhm.
you're gonna reap so many fold now and in the life to come.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
And then what you just pointed out just makes it even more apparent. No, we are supposed to, and if we in obedience to the Father, we are supposed to reap a harvest
Mhm.
now in the land of the living, like you just said, and we get later on.
Who you gonna help if you can't help yourself?
That part.
So that's the thing, is realizing that in the Father, He's not asking us to stay down. He's asking us to get the prioritize things in check first. Now don't lose sight of them as I elevate you so that you can help the brother and the sisters.
That's the key.
And tear down, like how you gonna tear down an altar to that if you can't help exalt an altar to Yahuwah where
Mhm.
where there's access to the provision and to the necessities at least.
Mhm. Mhm.
So like literally we need time to get self together with the Father, and then maybe we can walk and then run.
Mhm.
But if we don't take time to get self together so that we can stand up on all fronts in Him and represent Him and, work for the people,
Mhm.
then something's gonna be left undone.
Mhm. There are many of us, self included, like these are things that just now coming into trying to get understanding on the controls of after years of foolish decisions. Yeah, might have been, if there's such a thing, righteousness paired with folly,
Yeah.
ignorance. You don't know what you don't know.
So speak to this people with a stammering tongue.
Mhm. Destroyed for a lack of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
What you don't know can hurt you.
Come on.
And that's ultimately what we have to start pairing with the obedience. Is not just obedience and, well, it is what it is. And if I just got to take this L, like, yeah, with purpose and under the Father's guidance. Sure, it's always better to suffer for righteousness' sake than it is for wickedness' sake. Absolutely.
Right.
But also, like, there is a such thing as wisdom and a ruach of wisdom, and actually pairing wisdom, the spirit of wisdom, with our obedience.
Come on.
So that we be, as it says in Sirach, in the prologue of Sirach, like, I wrote these things for wisdom, and so that it would add to you keeping these commandments.
Come on.
To bring wisdom to you being actually able to walk these things out properly.
That's right.
Like, that's the thing. And that's what we're seeing with Abraham, is a pairing of wisdom with righteousness and obedience. And then now through that, we're seeing increase. Even though at times wisdom is I got to go before these people in a land that I know is mine and I know that belongs to me. And I got to humble myself before these people and get ripped off right here. Like, just because he had it like that, that didn't mean he wanted to spend it like that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
That part.
But now I'm going to humble myself according to, and then we're going to get there in a minute. 400. Thank you, Father.
Mhm.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Mhm. Come on.
I best not.
This is what I gotta pay.
Mm-hmm.
This is the cost.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So not at that cost.
Mm-hmm.
So not at that.
Confirmation. Like the Father is in detail.
So now that that cost has been paid, what's left but the inheritance? As long as we don't foolishly take ourselves out of position.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It just makes me think of, and not to get too far off of it, but something about the captivity, how it was talking about when in the midst of Israel, when Moshe, because we had spoken about that a little bit earlier. But when they were in the wilderness and they raised up the staff and the serpent and all of that, we're supposed to look on certain things and understand how we're being bitten and make that self-correction.
Adjust.
Because that bitten, not only is it talking about, okay, yeah, a serpent came and bit you, but it's also talking about, when you look at that word, what that word bitten means, it means to be lent upon usury, when you getting taken advantage of financially, when you getting bit, when you getting gouged left and right for your finances, for your money, and you ain't got a leg to stand on, you then can't depend on what the Most High have done for you, because you keep getting got.
Where I come from, they call that pimping. I mean,
that part. And so when you get bit by the serpent upon the staff, side note, serpent upon the staff, when the last time somebody looked at a dollar sign?
Bars.
You know, when you consider, you're supposed to consider when that is raised up in your face. Oh, I keep on seeing how my money is getting, but I can't put my affairs in order. I can't help my brethren. I can't even help myself. What kind of movement is going to progress now? It can't do nothing but be squashed. When you don't have no ability to help yourself, you ain't got no ability to help your brethren, to redeem your brethren. They might be in captivity, whatever is going on.
Yep. Vicious cycle.
Time to get in the game.
That part.
That's what he's saying to Israel is, no, stop just looking at it, but get in the game. Be wise as serpents, but don't allow no true offense to be accused of you before my face. They can accuse you in a lie, but when I investigate, don't let it be true. But get in the game, Israel.
Don't just keep talking about what's going to happen later. No, take care of now. A wise man leaves an inheritance to his children's children's children, like far as you can. Forever. Wise man go leave an inheritance. Your inheritance ain't just, you got this that don't
no, that skit from Kanye. Well, my dad died and left me all these degrees. I don't have any money, but I got these degrees. Like, no.
That's not to say we don't need degrees.
No, that's
Come.
no slander toward education, but we need more than some. We need
more than just a certification.
We need to be in the Father,
That part.
focused on things in the Shamayim, but actually doing Tob in the earth. Like, we don't just need to know the scriptures, we need to put them in action. And that's what the Father's looking at us like, okay, y'all still on the small bus. I need y'all to get healed and drive the damn bus. Stop riding back there fighting to take your helmet off so you can lick the window. But do the scriptures and you will see the manifestation. You know what I mean? Like, learn to suffer, especially for your own. Shut your mouth. You ain't gotta have no get back. And when you shut your mouth, you're gonna realize I'm gonna increase your ability to shut your mouth, and you won't even get so amped because you actually hearkening.
Absolutely. Sister, education in scriptures, that's the ultimate degree. Absolutely.
Mhm.
That's going to teach us how to operate our day in and day out. And then it tells us also in the scripture to go and buy, go and get you some understanding for money, pay for your. So that means go ahead and learn you a trade, learn you a skill, learn you a whatever it is that you have to learn. Make it fit for yourself in the field first. Then bring it into the home. Then make your home sufficient. You know, so even in the script, he got order. If we heed to it, if we heed
It's
to
time
it,
to rise up if we heed to it.
there we go.
It's inevitable. This is the 1 + 1 equals. This is the equals. This is how this equation works. Like there's only one fruit of wisdom. There's only one. Like you don't get the reward and reap the reward of folly from wisdom.
Come on.
It doesn't work that way. Nor do you reap the reward of wisdom with folly. It doesn't work that way. So like, what are we lacking in these days? Like now it's time, like you said, okay, how can we start applying this wisdom?
I mean, one thing is circular economics. You see, even when
Prefer one another.
you see, even when the world applies it, they get the told results of it.
Every
Why?
time.
Because these are oracles in the heavens. That if you do this, you're gonna get this result. So even when they doing it for wicked purposes, they're still increasing when they operate under the guise of that legislation. How much more for us when he wants us to get up?
I was thinking about it the other day. He said he magnified his word over his name. And that's how these other nations can operate like that and still benefit, because his word says prefer what, just talking about what you were talking about, you know, circular economics. When in the law, it tells us prefer one another, you know, do not lend upon usury to one another. So when when we are using, just to sum it up, you know, those kind of principles, calling it in that blanket term, circular economics, then, or when somebody else is using that circular economics, of course, they're going to benefit
Eat
from
the fruit
that.
of that wisdom.
They're going to eat the fruit of that, because regardless of if his name is on us, if his name is on us, but we not operating in circular economics, it don't matter what we do. We're not going to see the benefit of it. And if somebody else who don't have his name, another nation don't have his name on them, but they're operating in circular economics, he have magnified his word above his name. They're going to see the benefit of it. They're not going to get the double blessing because they don't have his name on him. Oh, but they're going to eat the fruit of that. And they're going to be in the tove position. They're going to be the head and not the tail.
Like that's the thing.
Man.
Then, you know, it's actually getting active enough so that we can see the value in doing what it takes to help one another get on their feet. Like I may be able to get less of a product I need so that I can get it at the price you need me to pay to keep your stuff going. Because we're trying to sow into this thing, getting up and helping to cycle and feed the community. You know what I mean? So it's a sacrifice well made. But if we don't see the value in that, because no, I need all I can get now,
Ain't
then
gonna work that way.
we're gonna eat the folly.
Bag with holes in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All praises. So we know what Yahuwah promised Abraham already, right? Genesis 17:7-8. I'll establish my covenant between me and you and your seed after you and all their generations for an everlasting covenant to be Elohim to you and your seed after you. Major key. And I shall give to you and your seed after you the land of your sojournings, all of the land of Canaan, as an everlasting possession, and I shall be their Elohim. So this means that it's got to come to him a certain kind of way. I can't let y'all give it to me, because I may as well be Mashiach at the Mount, being given this now ahead of the Father's plan and ahead of the Father's time. I can give you all of these things now if you would just bow down to worship me. If you would just serve me. What we think would have happened if he would have been given anything? But well, you know.
For a plug on all these generations over here that was counting on that sacrificial lamb.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Priests, the Levites,
Mm-hmm.
not allowed to have an inheritance in the land so that you can stay focused on your task and not get distracted and not give up your birthright. But on the back end, I'm gonna take care of you. I'm your inheritance. You ain't gonna go without. In fact, all that they're trying to give to me, they're gonna have to give to you, and that's how they give to me.
That part.
Just know that you always working, and we always working with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't. It's not a time off for you, so you can
That
get your
part.
mind off frivolous things.
Uh-huh.
Even when I have you go this place and that place, know that you on duty.
It's overtime,
Mm-hmm.
but it come with its rewards and
That
its
part.
perks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's where the circular economics would come into play at, because what he told the Levites, I have given the children of Israel to you.
Mm.
You know, and so so yeah, if children of Israel doing what they supposed to do, that little percentage that they give, that little bit off the top that they give, it'll absolutely be enough to sustain and allow, prosperity, even for the Levites who don't get in there. And in turn, it ain't like you're doing it for free. No, they operating for you. Circular economics. I'm doing this under the commandment of the Most High. Before y'all come in, y'all have somebody that's always taking care of this. So you can have a place to come in, pray. You can have a place to come and do the XYZ. You have this, you have that, whatever it is. You always can find a meal here. So you always can find something here.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you always have to be bringing something in. You always have to be bringing something in. You may not need it at this time. Somebody else might need it at this time. But because you brought it this time, somebody else is not going to go without.
Mm-hmm.
And just from the vantage point of a priest in the Father's hands, like a lot of times he'll cause them to gift something unto a priest. Oh, before you go and do that, make me a cake.
Uh-huh.
And that activates something to give you
Mhm.
access to the heavens through this person that's in
Mhm.
position to get what you need,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Gotta pay to play.
knowingly or unknowingly. But because you did what was required, even if you didn't know that's how it was going down, now you got access to what you needed
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
above and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Although you're not in position with the Father like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely traditional. Got to play.
Mm-hmm.
If thou be willing and obedient.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
If
It's
you do
conditional.
told, will you not be
Mhm.
accepted?
It's conditional.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
it's not just unconditional, this unconditional, that. No, even you. And sometimes I notice, like, I've just come out of Christianity, people look at you at Yahushua like he was a pauper.
Mhm.
Absolutely not. He absolutely was not. But it was said that he made himself
Mhm.
of no report. He made himself of low degree.
Mhm.
Why? Because he was giving to the brethren. Did he start out that way?
Mhm.
I got uncle right now that's a carpenter. You know that man worth millions right now? Like, I don't know if he was worth millions, but I'm just saying, like, carpenter, that's not no shabby
Mhm.
occupation,
Mhm.
especially when there's high demand. So you mean tell me this man was a carpenter, his father was a carpenter, and at a time when I don't really think factories was a thing, you had that one of a kind work, you know what I'm saying? So you can tell me he ain't have it to do, he ain't had no money, he ain't had no.
Mhm. Mhm.
She wasn't trying to take no coins to the grave.
Mm-hmm.
You had enough foresight to keep what was necessary.
Mhm.
If that was a thing, you know what I mean? Like he had to maintain a budget, he had the wisdom to do that, but he ain't trying to take no coinage to the grave. He ain't
Mhm.
caught up on that.
Even that's significant because you could probably tell him from experience. From that, one thing you have not done, sell what you have and disperse it to the brethren. You've done everything else up until your youth. Come on up here with me then. Do what I've done.
Mhm.
Sell the excess that you have.
Mhm.
Give it straight to the Father. What you done to the least of them?
Mhm.
These are those things that in the moment, if our mind ain't where we really need it to be, we won't capitalize on the moment because we don't even see it as an opportunity.
Mhm.
Again, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
Mhm.
If those ain't the opportunities you're looking for, it'll be harder to see. be
That
more
part.
vague. You might think about it
part.
afterward.
Mm.
And sometimes the Father in His mercy will allow you to accidentally capitalize,
Mhm.
then give you some clarity afterward, keep you going in that direction.
Mm.
That's the way that things work with the Father.
All praises. All praises. So here's something to consider. Acts chapter 7, verse 2. You know, the famous speech of Stephen. It says, and he replied, men, brothers and fathers, listen. The Elohim of esteem appeared to our father Abraham when he was in Aram Naharaim, before he dwelt in Haran. And he said to him, come out of your land from your relatives and come here into a land that I will show you. And he came out of the land of the Kasdim, or the Chaldeans, and dwelt in Haran. And from there, after the death of his father, he removed him to his land, to this land in which you now dwell. And he gave him no inheritance in it, not a foot of it, but he promised to give it to him for a possession and to his seed after him when as yet he had no child. And Elohim spoke in this way, that his seed would be sojourning in a foreign land, and that they would be enslaved and mistreated for 100 years. And the nation to whom they shall be enslaved, I shall judge, said Elohim. And after that, they shall come out and serve me in this place. So here we see that this is an example of Abraham's faith. He refused to be given the land by anyone other than Yahuwah. He knew that if he would have allowed for the land to be given to him by the Hittites, he would have been going against Yahuwah. As a side note, now, or how many times have we known that Yahuwah has something in store for us, but we jump the gun and do it, and we do it our way instead of the way that Yahuwah has planned it out for us? We must be very mindful, because when this happens, we must remember that this is Yahuwah's way of testing us to know what is in our hearts. Remember, Yahuwah tests us to see what is in our heart, and at the same time, the adversary may be tempting us to see what is in our heart as well. Your heart is the battleground, and you either gonna lean towards one way or the other. And depending on which way you lean, you're gonna reap what you sowed. And according to the Father's compassion and mercy, hopefully he give you another opportunity to make Tob wrong if you went the wrong way, because he gonna chase him whom he love. But for some, they don't see that second opportunity. So it really is stay as grounded as we can to move according as he's leading us. If it's something that he has promised us, something that he has shown us, cleaving unto that, and don't get tricked in the meantime, because those opportunities to get tricked come up. And it's a test to say, well, no, I told you enough. I gave you enough to see you was going to believe what I told you. Or, yeah, let him give you the land. Matter of fact, let him give you all of the land in here. Matter of fact, you can have that too. You can have that too. Then later on, you wondering why ain't no inheritance being given to your seed. You know, yeah, bow down and worship me. I'll give you all this right now.
Come on.
Yeah, okay. Fall for that if you want to.
Nah.
It's pay to play.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, and then too, like what you just taking it back to the question you had asked before, you know, why would he insist on buying the land? Because you know, if somebody gave it, they could take it back just that easy.
You know, blink of an eye.
Even if he hadn't
So
seen
you
no.
use it.
Yep.
Hey, bro, yeah, nah, you know, I just went and got these so-and-sos, and I need to, you know, I got to come over there. I got to park them over on the sun. Like, you know how folk do. It's dangling over your head.
Exactly.
Ooh. Major key.
So even if he hadn't seen no, you know, slick dealings and nothing like that, just that principle that if you done gave it, you probably gave it that quick, you'll probably try to take it that quick. You know, so
So yeah, definitely. Yeah, by no means am I saying get caught up in this system and the affairs of the system and be overtaken with that, but it don't have to be. There is a, how can I put this? There is a reward in the land of the living if we are operating according to this Torah. We don't have to be living under these curses and poor and destitute to a certain degree. Like, yes, there is levels to this, right? Like, there is personal level, the same as it is with faith and how it works spiritually. Like, yeah, you can be delivered, but you can be looking at everybody else in your family like, why are they still bound? You know what I mean? Like, just because deliverance done came to you in this particular, that don't necessarily mean that it's going to be on everybody. Same likewise with, yeah, us as a nation, we ain't going to see the fruits of that until he delivers us. But that doesn't necessarily mean that on an individual level and as many as will collect together under his covenant, then blessing won't come through. Like, that's not even logical when we dealing with the Father.
Oh, because he's saying, come out of her. That means you need to be able to become. You ain't got to be at the moment that you first hear that trumpet, but you need to be able to become self-sustained. In order to be out of her, 3 days journey. You know what I mean? Just saying, even theoretically, where you can serve the Father outside of this world system, to where your communion with him ain't getting chewed up by the demands of this world because of what we have been stuck in. Like, with the Father in this walk, the main thing is to first learn how to live by your amun, your fidelity unto him, you learning the direct correlation to him making a way for you, regardless of what it looked like, because of your faithfulness and getting through the hiccups and, trial and errors of when I try it this way, I walk in less favor. When I try it that way, and actually realizing he wants you to engage and learn to try these things so that you know the boundaries for you and you can teach your household out of that. Like, he meant it when he said it, your gift will make room for you. But here's the thing, is like,
playing in my
we've
head.
been given gifts to perform certain things, but also the gift that makes room for you is what you turn your life into as a gift presented unto the Father. And when you do well, you will be accepted. Your gift unto the Father will make room for you. And then those gifts that he's given you to perform certain things, you can operate in those as well, especially after you realize that your life has a potential to be a gift unto our Creator. And that's what he wants.
And I'm sitting here thinking about it, like, how would they be able to see that he is a prince with Elohim? How would they be able to see that the Father have been with him? You know what I'm saying? Not saying that, and I'm not trying to equate it to, oh, you got to be out here balling for this. No, because pastors be out here balling. That don't mean nothing. You're right. But the fact that that part, they can see the favor, the fact that he's increasing, and I didn't get that to him. You do that for him? You ain't do that for him?
Nah, that makes sense.
Oh, man.
He gave to me. I was down bad, and he looked out for me and threw me some.
That part. Oh, man. Hey, you heard about that battle that he went and did, right? You heard about that fight that he got in, right? He came out, how he whooped on them folks. Man, how else would they be able to see that the Most High is with him or see the glory of the Most High on him, except he be prosperous, not only financially, but situationally as well?
That part.
All nations shall cleave unto the earth and say, we shall go with you, for we have heard Elohim is with you. Like, Father's the same today as he was then. These are blessings for obedience. When you said this is cause and effect. So you have to learn how to walk with the Father, get a grasp of the controls.
And I'm even thinking about, in some places it talks about, like, it literally says living the life of a pauper, of a beggar, is abominable. So how can we sit here and think that, okay, no, we're not supposed to have nothing right now? We're not even supposed to be able to, no, because then we have to depend on somebody else who's not the Most High.
Look for the end. Put away little by little. No, I may not be able to save like them or spend like them, but if we can get our mind around not having to consume everything that comes in, even if it means I go without a little bit, so that later on we can have something. It's gonna add up. And I ain't done nothing wrong to get it. So where is it gonna go quickly? Unless I make a rash decision or an emergency come up.
So yeah, talk about being a beggar is an abominable lifestyle. Yeah, live not the life of a beggar. And then there was another one that I was thinking of. If it comes back to me, I'll say, but there was another scripture. What's that saying? Say hallelujah, stay out.
Yeah, this one is in Sirach 40 and 28. My son, lead not a beggar's life, for better it is to die than to beg. The life of him that dependeth on another man's table is not to be counted for a life, for he polluteth himself with other men's meat. But a wise man well nurtured will beware thereof. Begging is sweet in the mouth of the shameless, but in his belly there shall burn a fire. That was Sirach 40, 28 through 30. In other words, in Yahusha, you gotta get up, get out, and get something. But the thing is this whole system is set up with having you distracted with the solution being outside of you, when the solution is inside of you, when you actually submit to the King of Glory. Realize when and where he wants you to suffer for the reward that he wants to give you, increasing your vision, your opportunity and ability to meditate on him and to withstand the darts that come, so that you can stay on task, and he'll keep increasing you in the areas that he sees to be pleased with prioritizing. But not rushing it, not thinking it's supposed to be financial, when in that season he's trying to increase you spiritually. Trusting him all the way and not getting distracted to the best of our ability, learning to encourage ourselves with the promises, and realize that's what he wants you to cleave to, that you might no longer be destroyed for cleaving onto the ways of the world.
Trickery that was played on us. Thinking, no, we supposed to give everything up right now, not have nothing, because greater is late, greater to come later. No, I want mine now and later. Exactly. Can you give do you have an extra blanket? Do you have a second coat that you can give? If you don't even have a first coat, you can't give a second coat. You need a coat. Like when you in need, who can you help? The crippling of the welfare.
That's a whole nother thing. Yeah, all praises. So Genesis 23:15 says, my master, listen to me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that between you and me? So bury your dead. So could it be that Yahuwah is giving Abraham a confidence boost in the midst of this? Abraham insists on being a stranger and a sojourner because this is what Yahuwah told him. He knows that he is supposed to die and that he will not receive the promised land in his lifetime, but that his promised heir will after 400 years. Remembering what Yahuwah said, he is insisting on doing it the way Yahuwah said it should be done, and he will be buried in peace. That's what he told him. You will die and be buried in peace at a ripe old age in this land of your sojournings. So keep in mind that Abraham don't know how much he gonna say that this land is worth. Ephron don't even know. This is the father's doing, speaking through this, giving him that confidence boost in the quote unquote signs, right? Like, oh, you don't know what that 400 means, but I know what it means.
Yeah, I come up for the class.
Remembering what Yahuwah said, he's insisting on doing it the way that Yahuwah said it should be done, and he will be buried in peace. Could it be that he is looking forward to receiving this promise and resurrection? Hebrews 11 verse 8 says, by belief, Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out of the place which he was about to receive as an inheritance. And he went out not knowing where he was going. By belief or by faith, he sojourned in the land of promise as a stranger. So he willfully sojourned in this land as a lesser class citizen, as a foreigner in this land, in a strange land. He chose to do this because of his faith and his belief in the promise that the Father gave him.
May add a little excerpt from Hebrews 13 and starting at verse 12. Says, wherefore Yahusha also, that he might sanctify the people with his own blood, suffered without the gate. Verse 13. Let us go forth therefore unto him without the camp. There's a whole nother thing that takes place outside the camp versus inside the camp. Inside the camp is where the Father's mercy, provision, favor, and all these told things are. Outside the camp is often to where things are either set apart or put to death. But outside the camp is a whole nother atmosphere than inside the camp. Coming here because in this time, in this present time, we can consider ourselves outside the camp, looking to the promises that's going to come when his kingdom is in the earth and we're inside the camp, being qualified and accepted in. But knowing that even while we're outside the camp, he promised to be small sanctuaries unto us. So it ain't got to be, we're getting chased down and gunned down and all this woe is us just because we believe. No, he said he's going to be with us as long as we with him. Let us go forth, therefore, unto him without the camp, bearing his reproach. For here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come. The promises. By him, therefore, let us offer the sacrifice of praise to Yahuwah continually, that is, the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. But to do tob and to communicate, forget not, for with such sacrifices Yahuwah is well pleased. So on and so forth. But yeah, just looking beyond the present time. It's in one of the scripts. It's either, I don't think it's James, I think it's in First Peter. But either way, it's saying basically gives you these list of attributes that you should add onto your faith. Knowing that your shalom and your peace is going to be increased as your knowledge of the Father and Mashiach increases. The more you know them, the more you're going to have shalom, even in this earth, in this present time. Add all these things to your faith, virtue, brotherly love. You find that list, you know what I'm talking about. It goes on to say, he that lacks these things is blind and cannot see afar off. You can't focus on the promises because you blinded by your current conditions and what you have to go through. You blinded by the cost. You don't think you can afford it. So now you can't afford to bring forth these things that's going to be pleasing unto the Father. You're ultimately sacrificing your birthright. So set your mind on the fact that right now we ain't got no continuing place. The Mashiach didn't have no place to lay his head in this world, but he still wasn't lacking nothing. But he knew this wasn't the time of eternal rest. Same thing with forefather Abraham. No, I ain't trying to diminish my portion in the kingdom at all. I'm gonna wait for it there. But it didn't mean he was broke. That's it.
All praises. 100. Like, yeah. 100%. Where we at? Verse 9. It says, By belief, he sojourned in the land of promise as a stranger, dwelling in tents with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he was looking for the city having foundations, whose builder and maker is Elohim. By belief also, Sarah herself was enabled to conceive seed, and she bore a child when she was past the normal age, because she deemed him trustworthy who had promised. And so from one, and him as Tob as dead, were born as numerous as the stars of the heaven, as countless as the sand which is by the seashore. In faith or belief, all these died, not having received the promises, but seeing them from a distance, like Ak was just saying, welcomed and embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers or aliens, foreigners on the earth. For those who speak this way make it clear that they seek a fatherland. And yet, if they had indeed kept remembering that place from which they had come out, they would have had the chance to return. Could have went back at any point that he wanted to. But now they long for a better place. Man, my goodness. That is a heavenly. Therefore, Elohim is not ashamed to be called their Elohim, for he has prepared a city for them. All praises.
These people don't relinquish the kingdom that's been embedded within them.
Mhm.
So in the heat of a moment, they can still afford to maintain shalom and to bring forth the fruit of his ruach, remaining or maintaining their citizenship in the kingdom of the Shamayim that's going to manifest in the earth. So when that the great awakening happens and folks is resurrected in the first resurrection who have passed on, and then those that haven't, but they're changed in the instant, you ain't lost your citizenship and you're not cast out to where there's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth, where the dogs and everything horrible ain't been completely diminished. So there's likely still going to be some torment going on, but for those within, all torment has ceased. There's no more tears because there's no more pain, which is the fruit of something. Those seeds ain't being sown no more within. And that's what we aiming at.
Because as we sitting here talking, some things just occurred to me. Because even now, and what I like to say is science. Pretty much all science can do is just like catch up to the Father. He says it. Science just catches up to him and figures out the effect of what he said, or
they observe.
They observe. Literally, they observe. They see the effects of what he said, or see the inner workings of what he said and why it happens. You know what I'm saying? So what they're saying now in physics, the same thing the metaphysical community keeps saying and all of that stuff. Everything that came to be is from what you can't see. You know, everything that you can see is from what you can't see, you know? So as we're sitting here reading this scripture, it literally just came to me. It's like it's full circle. It's absolutely full circle. So if we operate as if, you know, without relinquishing the kingdom within us, and he told us he's preparing a city. We have not a city yet, or have not a place yet, but he's preparing a place. So don't that mean we can't even see it yet, but don't that mean if he is spiritually preparing for us a city, that means it's going to manifest? So it's going to manifest. And if we don't relinquish the kingdom within us, it's going to come full circle, whether it be through us physically right now or just our lineage later on down the line. Just like why Abraham spent them 400 shekels. No, I'm gonna stake my claim in it right now. I believe in it, and I'm gonna stake my claim in it.
No bargaining, no 350.
No haggling.
None of that.
None.
Oh, okay.
Hey, cut and dry. Let's do it. Sign the paper.
Say less.
Take this and wash all that out your bloodline.
Yep.
At that time, it's gonna be the pure you that rises back up.
And so it just like literally just hit me. If he's telling us he's preparing something for us that we can't see, that means it's only a matter of time before it manifests, because everything that we can see comes from what we can't see.
Mhm.
Everything that manifests right now, it comes from something that was done in the spiritual realm already. There's a decree that was ordered in the spiritual realm, then it's being acted out in the physical realm, or some, or by whatever.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
it happened just like our actions.
Mhm.
Literally the same
Mhm.
way. The justification for me is literally like our actions. We can't move our foot and walk unless the
Mhm.
thought that we cannot see, or the nerve endings that we cannot see, the electrical impulse that we cannot see, unless it sends that signal to our foot, to the muscles, to the bone, to the all of that in our body, telling our legs to walk, it's not going to happen.
Mhm.
But it's the same thing. Our steps are taken because of the thoughts that we have that we cannot see.
Mhm.
So then, therefore, it is manifested in physical through us walking. Man, if we don't get it together.
Funny.
If it's cool, I want to read it. That the scripture I brought up that goes right along with this, and it also jives with Hebrews 13, starting at 12. This is 2 Peter chapter 1,
Mhm.
verses 1 through 13. To Simon Peter, a servant and apostle of Yahushua Mashiach, to them that have obtained like precious faith. I mean, we're on the same wave. No, we done tapped into that thing that they call hope. They call a sect. We're on the same page. This is a desired, a specific audience that this is to and
Mhm.
for.
Mhm.
Simon Peter, a servant and apostle of Yahushua Mashiach, to them that have obtained like precious faith with us, through the righteousness of Yahuwah and our Savior Yahushua Mashiach. Grace and peace be multiplied unto you through the knowledge of Yahuwah and of Yahushua Mashiach. And I hope that we all know at this point that what you know doesn't benefit you if you don't exercise it.
Mhm.
So through the exercising of this knowledge of the Father and Mashiach, what pleases them, what disqualifies you, so on and so forth. When you exercise in that knowledge and this truth and this fact, you got no choice but to have your grace and your peace increased.
Mhm.
Grace and peace be multiplied unto you through the knowledge of Yahuwah and of the Mashiach, according as his divine power have given unto us all things that pertain unto life and godliness, through the knowledge of him that have called us to glory and virtue, whereby or by these, whereby are given unto us exceeding great and precious promises. So he gives us promises for a reason, whereby are given unto us exceeding great and precious promises, that by these you might be partakers of the divine nature.
Mhm.
He wants you to change based off the promises, and it's
Mhm.
going to be evidence of your belief or your unbelief.
Mhm.
That by these you might be partakers of the divine nature, having escaped the corruption that is in the world through lust or through perverse desires. And beside this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge, and to knowledge temperance, and to knowledge temperance, and to temperance patience, and to patience godliness, and to godliness brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness charity. For if these things be in you and abound, they make you that you should neither be barren or unfruitful in the knowledge of him. Why? Because he's going to keep increasing your understanding on why he said do it that way. It's going to strengthen you in doing things his way. And before you know it, you're going to be in a place of understanding of
Mhm.
how the Father, not how, but why the Father does things certain
Mhm.
ways. And you ain't even going to have permission to share that with everybody because you just keep flipping your increase in
Mhm.
Mashiach.
Mhm.
You're like, oh, no, I'm going to eat that. Why?
Mhm.
Because if I just do it the Father's way, he's going to show me something else.
Mhm.
Come teacher's pet. And they
Mhm.
don't even know it.
Mhm.
And he's willing to do that with all of us
Mhm.
because he wants us to understand these things. He's
Mhm.
rooting for us. He done died so we can get this.
Mhm.
Like he put it all in. He's waiting on us to go all in. For if these things be in you and abound, they make you that you should neither be barren nor unfruitful in the knowledge of our Adonai, Yahushua Mashiach. But he that lacks these things is blind and cannot see afar off. Parable of the sower. Blinded by the cares of the world. Yeah, we behind in 3 bills, but if you keep flipping out when the Father done told you to subject yourself to me, just because I don't know what the plan's supposed to be, now you could be potentially disqualifying yourself because this whole thing is set up to increase our trust in the Father. Now let's ride it out and see what it's gonna be, knowing that He gonna come through. But he that lacks these things is blind and cannot see far off, and have forgotten that he was purged from his old sins. Letting the old stuff rise back up. Stuff the Father already said He's not pleased with. Stuff that's going to keep you disconnected from the help that you so need. Wherefore, the rather, brethren, give diligence to make your calling and election sure. For if you do these things, you shall neither fail, you shall neither fall, you shall neither fall, just man falls 7 times. But if you do these things, you shall never fall. For an entrance shall be ministered unto you abundantly. What happened right after Mashiach was tried and found faith?
Came to minister to him.
Yeah, they were sent to minister unto him. For an entrance shall be ministered unto you abundantly into the everlasting kingdom. That's how you get the kingdom within. First, you got to pay the cost. And whatever the Father done told you to do it His way and watch Him increase you. Now open that door up. Stephen saw the door open. This is before he put to death. So what was his walk like with the Father? To where he could even be overcome by the Ruach and used like that. For an entrance shall be ministered unto you abundantly into the everlasting kingdom of our Adonai and Savior Yahushua Mashiach. Wherefore, I will not be negligent to put you always in remembrance, although you know these things, because I know how the enemy moves. And I know we got real life circumstances to deal with and navigate, and I know how the flesh is. So it behooves us to always be encouraging one another and reminding one another and posting scriptures, even if nobody responds, because they might just get on that phone 4 days later after that scripture been shared, and that's just what they needed to remember to stay in bounds. Nah, let me not take the bait right now. Wherefore, I will not be negligent to put you always in remembrance of these things, though you know them and be established in the present truth. Yeah, I think it meet, as long as I am in this tabernacle, to stir you up by putting you in remembrance. Why? Because I see what's on the line. So if I got to pay a little extra, as long as you can stay in the game, let's get it. Because it ain't going to compare to what the Father's going to give to those who have been accepted. All praises.
All praises. All praises. Yeah, I think about there too. Yeah, all praises. So verse 16, it just says, and Abraham listened to Ephron. Abraham weighed out the silver for Ephron, which he had named in the hearing of the sons of at 400 shekels of silver, currency of the merchants. Thus the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the cave which was in it, and all the trees that were in the field, which were within all the surrounding borders, were deeded to Abraham as a possession in the presence of the sons of Heth, before all who went in the gate at the city, gate of this city. So we got witnesses.
Come on.
And after this, Abraham buried Sarah, his wife, in the cave in the field of Machpelah before Mamre, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. Thus the field and the cave that is in it were deeded to Abraham by the sons of deeded to Abraham by the sons of Heth as property for a burial site.
Come on.
Oops, went the wrong way. Here we go. So this is the last slide. But as we continue in this partial, we will see how it all is about waiting and trusting in Yahuwah and allowing yourself to be led by Him. So this is the ultimate test of faith. How long are you willing to wait, and how much are you willing to pay when it comes to following what Elohim is giving you? So 2 Timothy 4:7. I have fought the told fight. I have finished the race. I have guarded the faith for the belief. For the rest, there is laid up for me the crown of righteousness, which the master, the righteous judge, shall give to me on that day, and not to me only, but also to all those loving his appearing. So this is something that we can all look forward to being able to say, and a reward that we can all look forward to at the end of the day. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But don't just bring it out. I got you. But all praises. But yeah. Something that we can all look forward to.
That's right. That's right. Suffering ain't in vain in Yahuwah.
Yeah, like I said, this was one of them weeks that it was a week, had to get it real back in. Like, had to sit down, like, But one thing's for sure and another thing's for certain. You know, I've been here before and then left here before. And then went back and then left again. That's just kind of a part of how it goes, especially when you don't, like, it's not nothing that everything I got or don't got, as far as that is concerned, is all based off of something that I put in or didn't put into the equation. So, like, you can't be mad at nobody for eating the fruit of your own, what you sowed. Like, Father ain't tell me to do it the way that I done it over the years. You know what I mean? Like, what you don't know, yeah, you got to pay for what you sowed, whether you knew you were sowing that or not. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
And on the flip side, you're gaining wisdom that's potentially generational, you know? That's kingdom riches. This is how not to do it. And because of his mercy, he's showing me how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Next lesson would be chapter 24, which is, I mean, I'd be saying that all the time. It's like, this is one of my favorite, but like, nah, chapter 24 is really like, I love that chapter because it's got so much going on in it. Like, and so many layers of, just like when you look at how the story is being told, like you'll see like, oh nah, like his servant is something else. I just put it like that. Like, his servant is something else. He ain't, not to get too ahead, but like also just looking at the heart of this servant too, like, which we gonna be able to draw some other connections up, like it's another level of a story that's going on top of that. But yeah, like he was before the one that he's going to get in the son for, or getting a bride for, he was the heir to this. For all intents and purposes. And like, nah, he's happy to see this happen. Like, how many folk do we know that be on the flip side of it, like Cain? Man,
That's deep, because even in Sirach it says, you know, as basically as a leader is, so is his man. So it reflects Abraham and his relationship with the father, even in that. Like, you're gonna reap what you sow. And if that's what Abraham's reaping, like you've been pointing out, what's he sowing toward the father?
I was gonna say, it's whole stories out here. And I'm talking about in history books. And it's whole nations that have been revered and still are talked about in, glory. Whose brother, just because they thought it smelt like their daddy was finna die, killed everybody else around them, thinking, oh, I'm finna inherit this, that, and the third. I'm gonna make sure I inherit. I'm going. own brothers, Caesar. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Herod, his own sons. Mhm.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's whole nations out here that's still talking about it smell like it's
All the
death
Hebrew
on the air.
boys.
Oh, he's sick. What you say? He got a let me hey yo, pass me that you know
Mhm.
But then we have the servant of Abraham. Like what you talking about? Like, yeah, like that story is it's awesome.
Yeah, that's deep.
Mhm.
'Cause that was part of the discussion when Abraham was being tested to take him up to the mountain.
Mhm.
Is Ishmael and the servant talking about who gonna get the inheritance if he go through with it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But to show his heart, like, I ain't willing to take it.
Mhm.
If it fall on me, then all praises. But I ain't finna, I ain't finna try to work myself into that by manipulation.
Because I mean, by all intents and purposes, if he was on that, he could have came back and I ain't find nobody.
Right. They all
One-
died
yeah.
last year.
Yeah, you won't believe it. And I pulled up as soon as I got to the well. I said, man, you know where my man's peoples is? And they said, nah, man, they all gone. Sorry, I'm sorry they had to give you this news. Like it's
Yeah.
folk out here on that kind of time.
Yeah.
Brought him an evil report.
Mhm.
Like Caleb, no,
Mhm.
I came back and I told him real.
Yeah, it was dedicated. And yeah, like the wisdom. But yeah, that's next week's
No,
or
Chris.
next lesson or what, Yeah, I'll pray.
All praises. You let me praise.
No, I was gonna say all praises to the Most High. Well, if that is it, I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, we gonna call it a day. Shabbat shalom to everybody. May the Most High make you all exponentially more than you are at this moment. And may it be for your toe and not evil. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
to all of you.
Shalom.
No praises. Okay, so now that that's over, how everybody week been?
Copy.
All praises. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All praises. Praises.
Right on time.
Yeah.
That's the time we in, like